I don't really believe in the war on drugs as it's been put through in the media. I don't believe that drugs themselves have as much of an impact on society as everyone seems to be trying to put forth. And I think the greatest damage that's caused by the drugs is due to the fact that they are illegal rather than something intrinsic to the drugs themselves. Now, what's inspired this, of course, is the fact that earlier this morning, two members of the Bali Nine, the people that were caught smuggling drugs from Australia into Bali, were executed by firing squad in Indonesia this morning. Um, it's one of the most harsh penalties you can get for that sort of thing. Clearly, not too much more than death can be considered harsh, I suppose. But even without that, people are going through to prison for what are really just crimes that affect themselves, and it's costing literally $125,000 per person per year. That's more than twice what I was earning as my annual salary at the highest salary that I was ever earning. So it's just a big drain on society. And I don't really think that it's protecting anyone from anything. Clearly there's going to be misinformation, either deliberately or unintentionally, on both sides of the argument, but one of the things that I do believe from the pro argument is, for example, that marijuana is not going to be any more addictive or more harmful than alcohol or cigarettes. Now, I'm only a Christmas, Easter drinker. I only have a glass of wine or whatever on special occasions. I have had the occasional cigar and that sort of thing, but I'm not a regular smoker. So I'm not afraid to say I do realise that alcohol and tobacco are drugs, and they're certainly not the least harmful of them. But ultimately, I'm a libertarian when it comes to that sort of thing, because I believe that whatever someone does to their own body is their own right. We really have no responsibility, no right to tell them what they can and can't do. Now, certainly, if people are going to start stealing stuff to try and fund their drug habit, you might have to make it illegal to steal from people. You may need to make it illegal to kill people over drugs. You may need to make it illegal to break into people's houses, make it illegal to extort money illegally. Problem there is that those things are already illegal. Now, what really needs to happen is instead that people who want to have help to get off of these drugs, the marijuana, the heroin, the whatever else out there, the help needs to be made available to them without any sort of judgment and that sort of thing. It needs to be cheap enough that people can afford to go to it. And considering that you could be saving the state $125,000 a year, I think the government could probably fund a bit of the Narcotics Anonymous and that sort of thing. But you certainly don't hear about these help groups. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but they can't be too prevalent, otherwise you would see signs on the side of the road: having problems with drugs, come see us, Narcotics Anonymous, and that sort of thing. That's really what needs to happen. We need to treat it as a health problem rather than as a crime problem. And I do think that if people are given that sort of assistance, and generally their lives are made better, then they're not going to go for the drugs as much as they do. In fact, I'm going to see if I can find the citation for it and put it down below. But there was actually a couple of studies done several decades ago at this stage. One is the one that is being cited mostly by the people in the war on drugs, where there was rats given the choice of two bottles of water. They could drink from one that was just water and drink from one that had hallucinogenic drugs inside it, and obviously they went to the one that had the hallucinogenic drugs in there, to the point where they just wasted away. They didn't even want to eat or anything. And the one that I'm going to cite is basically the counter study from that, because those rats that chose the drugged water, they were just in a container that only had the two bottles of water to choose from. They did another study. Basically, they had the rats in there, they had rat wheels, they had various other forms of entertainment. instead of the only entertainment being getting intoxicated. And in those cases, the rats were more likely to just go for the ordinary water. So, yeah, drug use is basically a response to boredom, to stress, and that sort of thing. So there are other ways that we can treat it rather than being like Schedule 1 narcotics and that sort of stuff where you go into prison for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. I don't actually know the sentencing laws for that sort of thing. Get all of your property taken away and auctioned off for the state, and yeah. But yeah, we've got those 2 people that are now dead because of it, and it's not because of the intrinsic nature of the drugs, it's because of the laws. Well, that's it. So what do you think? If you agree with me, leave me a thumbs up. If you disagree, leave a thumbs down. Give me a subscribe if you like. Maybe leave a couple of comments down below. If you've got something you want me to think about, then just leave it in a comment. Otherwise, have a good one.